Okay. All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Football Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, and ProChargeEV, ProChargeEV.com. All right, y'all, let's get to it. Opening night of the NFL. The Lions upset the Chiefs 21-20. NFL always delivers, man. There is no doubt that the Chiefs missed both Travis Kelce and Chris Jones. 4 drops in the second half for the Chiefs. One of them went straight through the receiver's hands, was intercepted by Brian Branch for a pick 6, which ended up obviously being the difference in the game. And then while the Chiefs were trying to make a comeback there at the end, they had 2.5 minutes. Back-to-back plays, man. Back-to-back plays. Mahomes hits receivers and they drop the ball. So, yes, receivers, pass catchers matter in the NFL and all levels of football, obviously. Ask LSU. So, the Lions moved to 1-0 there. Go on the road and beat Kansas City on opening night in the NFL. Burrow gets his record deal, $275 million extension. So Joey B gets 275 M's with 219 million guaranteed. So he becomes the highest player in NFL history. We expected that to be a record breaker, and it was. So Joey B signs his extension there. 5 years, just a 5-year deal. So he'll certainly have an opportunity for another gigantic contract as well in 5 years. So in any event, all right, we'll say some good mornings. Brian Kelly met with reporters after practice on Thursday, then went to his coach's show, and when he met with reporters, he was asked about Lance Hurd, and he did mention that their plan is to get Lance Hurd reps with the ones. So I don't think that means Lance Hurd will start the game, but I do think that the plan is, what we saw there near the end of camp, which was, for Hurd to, when Hurd goes in at right tackle, Emory Jones kicks into right guard, and Miles Frazier comes out. So I would expect that's what we'll see at some point early in the game, against Grambling tomorrow on Saturday, while the ones are out there. So, I actually asked, when LSU was having trouble moving bodies against Florida State, especially on the interior, I asked T-Ball, I was like, man, would you put Hurd in there right now? On Saturday, I asked him this. And he kind of scoffs, like, man, absolutely not. Like, against that defensive front in that scenario, like, you put a freshman in there in his first action. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I was just thinking, man, just put in a big old mean dude and put him in there trying to move some bodies. But it makes sense. I mean, do you really want to put a true freshman on the field in his first game action when LSU's losing, in a hostile environment to a top 10 team and against a really good and active defensive front? Be like, go get him, Chief. So, no, letting him get his feet wet against Grambling is a much better idea. But, part of me looks and I go, that's why week 0 would be really helpful. You could have had an opportunity to play him and get Ashton Stamps more run and stuff like that. So, anyway, water under the bridge. So we'll get an opportunity now to see. We will get an opportunity to see Lance Hurd though with the ones. And then, if y'all saw, but Omar Spades kind of spilled the beans a little bit. Said this week they have Greg Penn back at off-ball linebacker, and you're there in the box, and they're letting Harold Perkins play more out the box. So they're at the line. So see how that looks. Y'all, Mason Smith back this week as well, so you'll look more whole against a much lesser opponent. So should be a bit of a go let out some frustration opportunity for for the Tigers on Saturday. And then the Saints, of course, on Sunday, get the Titans at home. So, all right, let's talk about it. Y'all know the drill. If you're on YouTube there, please smash that like button, subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page and share the post. We appreciate y'all for being here with us. Jason Walker, good morning. Wendell Norman, Larry Garner, Chet Buxton, good morning. Tony single-handedly blew that game. Yeah, Kadarius Toney was, especially, the pick six obviously was massive. Even with that, though, a field goal, you're down one, a field goal wins the game for you. And dropping that ball on first down, the Chiefs would have been, around midfield. I mean, you're with Butker, you're basically in field goal range already. So, bummer. Yes, and I did bet the Chiefs to cover 4. So yes, I was absolutely partial to Kansas City in that game. Let's see, Jeremy Nusslock, good morning. Brian Wynn, Wacky Chris, good morning from the parish down in Chalmette. Taylor Hudson, Irfan Sayad, Jason Mobile, good morning. Cody Champion, Perkins is free, let the man eat. Devin Johnson, good morning. Good morning, Matt. Is the number 88 hurt? He's not on depth charts again this week. I can't think of the name, maybe. Oh, so you're thinking of Kamorian Pimpton. So, Kamorian Pimpton, I don't know what depth chart you're looking at. Because, I get the game notes from LSU, and they don't actually, they're not putting a depth chart in the game notes. So, so I don't know where, you'd have to tell me where you're seeing a depth chart. And the reason probably that if he's not on the depth chart is because you have Mason Taylor, Connor Gilbreth, who's the JUCO transfer, who's the sort of blocking tight end. He did play a good bit, sort of as an extra line in the game against Florida State. Mac Markway really is your next tight end after them. And then Kamorian Pimpton, Jackson McGowan kind of be next. McGowan's a really good route runner, just small, it's 235. And Pimpton's 6'6", 240. But again, he's you'll probably see those guys this weekend. But again, I guess I'm just thinking about if you're looking at a depth chart, where would they have Pimpton? 4th, third at best, but probably 4th. So if you're just looking at a depth chart that has the 2 deep, then you probably wouldn't see his name. Let's see, Bubba Smith, Vernell Thomas, good morning. How about them Lions? Kadarius Toney looked horrible last night. He did, man. If I was Patrick Mahomes, gotta be ticked. I would want to go punch the receiver in the face. You put a ball right on a guy, you're getting paid to catch the ball. I would want to punch him in the face. Trey Fisher, good morning. Jeff McKith and Jim Arsenault, good morning. Vernell was impressed with the Lions' run game last night. Hey, you know what, man? They were talking on the broadcast, I don't know if y'all heard it, about the Jamal Williams situation. Of course, Jamal Williams not with the Saints. And the Lions were really had because they were saying Dan Campbell really had a problem letting Jamal Williams go. But Jamal Williams was a free agent, and they didn't necessarily have a guarantee that he was going to re-sign, so they couldn't be left in a lurch. So they went and pursued David Montgomery, and of course Jamal Williams ended up signing with the Saints, and then they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. So it's worked out for Detroit, certainly. Jahmyr Gibbs looked really good last night, and David Montgomery's a good runner too. So Detroit's a good team, man. Hope Jamal Williams can deliver for the Saints, especially with Kamara out. Steve Scott, good morning. Hope you have a great weekend. Can Tulane pull off the win against Ole Miss? Can they? Sure. I think it'll be a good environment. I don't think Tulane gets overwhelmed by the moment. I mean, they played in some really big games a year ago, including obviously Cotton Bowl against USC. So, well coached, good quarterback. I think the line's about a touchdown on that one, if I'm not mistaken. I'm checking real quick. That line is 7.5. So Ole Miss 7.5. So yeah, can they pull up the upset? Sure. I'm not sure that I would predict it, but they certainly can. They won beat Kansas State last year on the road. Michael Cook, good morning. Patrick Burglass, Matt, good morning. What kicks are you wearing? Wearing my all whites today. My all white Air Force Ones. So when everybody said, as soon as I got my first pair, I was like, what should I get next? Like, you got to get a pair of all whites. I love them. Love all whites. Dale Broussard, Tigers coach and former player, getting paid. Oh yeah, Kim Mulkey as well, of course. Chris Proctor, good morning. Great start to the NFL season. Haven't been in the loop this week. Has Jay Emery been cleared to play? What's his stats? Oh, John Emery. No, he's not cleared this week. He's out again. So it was a 2-game suspension. So he'll be back for Mississippi State next week. Jerry DeLucky, good morning. For now, I wonder how many people dropped Tony from their fantasy lineup after last night's game. Y'all, I mean, I know I say this, like I have literally never played fantasy football in my life. The fantasy conversations, I've got like no frame of reference for any of that stuff. Jim, lines have been coming on for the last couple of seasons. They always play so hard. Black and blue divisions on notice. That's true. I mean, especially with, what are the Packers going to look like with Jordan Love this year? The Bears, I think the offense is going to be very good with Justin Fields. Obviously, they traded for DJ Moore as well, Carolina, so they got Fields a legit number one receiver. I don't know how the Bears' defense is going to be, which is weird to say because it was always an inverted problem, right? The defense is great, the offense couldn't move the ball. So, and then Minnesota, I'm torn on Minnesota. They won 13 games a year ago, but they were projected in Vegas, I think, to win 9. They were +4 over their projected win total. That was the biggest disparity in the NFL last year of a team to the upside. So they won a lot of close games. I don't know. That's going to be, I think, really hard to replicate. So I do like, and by the way, if it does come down to it, the Week 18 game is Detroit, Minnesota in Detroit. So I do like Detroit to win that division. I picked Detroit to win that division. Jerry, it's amazing how much one player, Kelsey, not playing makes a difference. And the interesting thing is, like, it didn't really affect the point spread, right? Like a tight end is not going to affect a point spread. But you can point to moments in the game and you go, yeah, like that alters what you're trying to do offensively. Let's see, Dale, what was John Emery spent for? It's the same academic issue. And by the way, John Emery is E-M-E-R-Y, not E-M-O-R-Y. The school in Atlanta is E-M-O-R-Y. Emery, the running back, is E-M-E-R-Y. Just because I'm incapable of noticing something like that and not pointing it out. It's both a blessing and a curse, but mostly a curse. So I apologize for being that guy. All right, please smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe up to the channel, please. Devin Johnson, good morning. Sorry, I just read that one. Dax Jeter. Morning, Matt. Sorry. Oh, man. There it is. I think the biggest cause for concern is the fact we still can't run the ball without Jaden Daniels. They need to shuffle something. So, Dax, here's what I would tell you. Like, pause. They'll run the ball against Grambling. Let me see how they run the ball on the road against Mississippi State. Because I have a sneaking suspicion that with Fabian Lovett and Braden Fisk and that defensive line from Florida State, they're going to wreck a lot of people this year. So I think LSU is going to be fine running the football. I think they struggle to run the football against that defensive front. Let's see. Jason H., Donovan Adams, Jason Mobile, don't forget to ping Terrio this morning. Remind him to get a guest picker. We've been talking about it a ton. He has had a really big fish on the hook. And I don't know if we're going to be able to reel it in. So we'll see. Cajun Country, good morning to Kim Mulkey, or congrats to Kim Mulkey. I guess Jay Johnson is next. Are the Grambling receivers tall? I had a nightmare of them throwing it up for 50-50 balls. The quarterback did throw for 300 yards last week against Hampton, so they are going to spread it out and sling it. Taz, good morning. Dan Campbell seemed to build the Lions in the mold of the Saints. To me, they mirror each other. Our DBs are better, though. Well, it makes sense. I mean, coming from New Orleans, that he would try to build the Lions kind of in that image. Someone asked me that on Twitter, if the Saints and the Lions were similar. And I'm trying to think. I mean, the thing about the Saints is the Saints have just built through their lines of scrimmage. I mean, they've obviously, hit on some really good skill players. Michael Thomas was a first rounder. They hit on Alvin Kamara, all that sort of stuff. But it's fair to say Jahmyr Gibbs kind of is an Alvin Kamara type back, and you got a two-back system where you got a power guy and a shifty guy. They drafted Penei Sewell very high. They drafted Frank Ragnow. So yeah, I mean, like the Saints, just go look at the Saints draft history, and it's just always. I mean, look at how much the Saints use high draft picks on linemen on either side of the ball. This year, Brian Brzee, Isaiah Foskey. Last year, Trevor Penning was in round 1. Yes, you did draft Olave, but Penning was in round 1. Peyton Turner, Cesar Ruiz, Eric McCoy, Marcus Davenport, Ryan Ramchick, Sheldon Rankins, Andres Pete. You see what I mean? Like, you'd have to go back to 2014 where Brandon Cooks was the first pick. Anyway, the Saints have really valued the line of scrimmage at the top of the draft on both sides. The Lions have kind of done that too. Dalton Barnett, good morning. Donovan Adams, let's see. Morrison address on the running back for LSU this weekend because I'd like to see more of a running game. I don't know what you were asking there, Donald. I think that's a typo, man. Morrison address on the running back for LSU. But I do agree with, like, if you're saying you want to see more of a running game, I'm with you. Like, I really want to see I want to see LSU get that running game going this weekend for sure, which they should. Richard Pardon, Brian Wynn, do you think Nuss gets reps tomorrow night? Absolutely. This is a name your score type game. So, LSU will, LSU can score 100 if they want to score 100. So yes, they'll, my guess is you'll see Jaden probably play to the middle of the third quarter or maybe through the third quarter and give Nuss the fourth quarter. But yes, I do think so. Tim Gotro, Dalton Barnett, $219 million guaranteed, but he took fewer years, right? He took a 5-year deal. So the total number isn't as much as like Mahomes, who got 10 years, $450, right? Tiger Diver, good morning. Chet Buxton, Joey B should be thanking Deshaun Watson for the crazy guaranteed contract. Deshaun Watson, the Browns, or whatever, but yes. Brett DeGrow, Bailey C. If LSU were to go 9-3, how would you feel about the season? I think they'll only lose one more game the rest of the way. Bailey C. It would kind of depend. How does the 9-3 look like? So do you lose to Bama and to A&M? Do you lose to Bama and A&M, and you finish third in the West and you go 9-3 and you're back in Orlando for the Citrus Bowl? That would be a bummer considering everything you had returning. I think that would be disappointing. Brad David, good morning. What do you mean when you say Kelly has a background in politics? Like, did he run for local office years ago? He was in like political campaigns. He was like a political strategist. There's been a lot written about this. Like early in his professional career before he became a coach. He's a political science major. Here you go. Political science major. Blah, 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 blah. feel like going through to read all this. Um, Kelly's Paul was an alderman, a city or town elected official in Massachusetts. Kelly briefly followed his father's footsteps, interning for the Massachusetts State Senator Jerry D'Amico, who represented the greater Worcester area, working for Gary Hart's 1984 presidential campaign. There you go. Brad David, oh, sorry, I read that one. Tim Gotro, KC coming dangerously close. Where was that? Sorry. To resembling some of the Saints teams where Breeze didn't have enough reliable weapons, can still put up great numbers, but tough to win those close games. I mean, look, the good news for them is Travis Kelce will be back, but, you let guys walk. You trade the cheetah to Miami, and you think Marquez Valdez Scantling is the answer, and yeah, it's hard to keep a core together, man. Jason H. bust out the black and gold Air Force Ones today. Okay, I'll have those on Sunday. Let's see. Got less than 10 minutes. Do me a favor if you're there on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Scone page, share the post. Let's see. Dale said, I've heard you correct the name before. It's kind of like you in the number 7. I don't care. The difference is with somebody's name, it's kind of a respect thing. Like, spell the man's name correctly. I guess maybe I'll just deal with that my whole life, right? But, like, your name is important. Like how you say it and spell it matters. So, anyway, Todd Harris, good morning. David Tolson, what specific improvements are you looking for from the Tigers this weekend? Well, I would like to see them not give up 400 yards passing or 300 yards passing. So really, I want to see the defense control the game. And then I want to see them run the football, which if you can't do that against, it's fair to say, like, if running the football, I don't think puts you at ease against greater opponents. But if you can't run the football against a much lesser physical opponent, then it sets off these huge red flags, right? So I think in a game like this, you've got to be able to control the line of scrimmage on both sides. And go play clean special teams, for the love of God, please. Todd Harris, why is LSU having so much trouble rebuilding the cornerback position? So the real problem came when Dwight McGlothern and Eli Ricks transferred, right? Because if you'd had McGlothern and Ricks last year, you don't have to go into the portal for the 1-year stopgap, right? Because you have really good corners. Well, both of them left. And so you had to go into the portal, and you ended up getting guys that maybe weren't the most athletic guys, but you got high football IQ guys. And Jarek Bernard-Converse and Mekhi Gardner, who's a big physical corner as well, but both those guys were very high football IQ guys. And so they covered up a lot. Same with Joe Fouché, at safety. So, but all those guys were 1-year guys. So they're all gone now. And the only scholarship cornerback you had returned from a year ago is LaTerrence Welch. So you had to go back into the portal. Now you signed a bunch of freshmen as well. In this class, you signed, we mentioned Ashton Stamps, you signed Jeremiah Hughes, Javen Toviano can obviously play corner. They have him at safety right now, but they've moved him around a bunch. Who else? So Toviano, is that it? Toviano, Stamps, and Hughes? Yeah, so there you go. So you signed those 3 freshmen, and you brought in another year of transfers, right? Now, the good thing about the transfers this year, knock on wood, is none of those corners are just 1-year guys, right? Zy Alexander could come back for another year. J.K. Johnson from Ohio State, he's got the broken leg, but he's just a sophomore. Denver Harris is a sophomore. Deuce Chestnut could come back for another year. So you could have some continuity and stability next year. And then all those guys I just mentioned, LaTerrence Welch, Ashton Stamps, Jeremiah Hughes, Javen Tobiano, they're all a year older. And then you're also bringing in another recruiting class behind them. Kai Bates is either the highest or second highest rated prospect that's committed right now for LSU. And he's a cornerback out of Florida. So you've got Kai Bates, so second highest rated. Deshaun McBride, the safety out of Denham, is the highest rated prospect you got. But Kai Bates, Juwan Johnson out of Lafayette Christian, that's 2. I thought there was another corner. Oh, Andre Evans out of Nashville. And then Wallace Foster out of Warren Easton, who, by the way, I'm going to see him play tonight. So I'm calling the Catholic High Warren Easton game tonight at Memorial, so I get to see Wallace Foster in that game. So you got 3 freshmen that you signed in this class. You got 4 committed for this coming year. So you're going to rebuild it, with your incoming freshmen as they continue to get more experience. But in the meantime, you need your transfers to play well, and unfortunately they didn't against Florida State. All right, let's see. A couple more minutes, y'all. A couple more. Antron Hemingway, good morning. Tiger Diver, what are your thoughts on Mac Brown's comments on the NCAA? UNC got away with no penalty for fake class. Is this karma for that? I don't know what Mac Brown said. I'm sorry, I must have missed this comment. Eric Walderotter, since this is the same staff that had Baskerville third string to start last year, are you worried about misevaluations? No, I think, and for what it's worth, that was true for Baskerville every year he was at LSU. It was probably a situation where Baskerville wasn't a great practice player, but when the lights came on, he would always go out and ball out. So there's guys that are like that. Famously or infamously, Rohan was like that. He's talked about it openly. He was a terrible practice player, but when the lights came on, he could flip the switch and he was awesome. Scott Shirley, let's see. Harold Perkins only played Jack for the Southern game last year, played Sam the rest of the year. So, in fairness, Scott, when you look at, you're not wrong, because the Ojulari was the Jack, but they got creative with the ways that they were able to play Harold Perkins at the line of scrimmage, and they would use odd fronts. They'd use 3-3 stacks, and they just, that's one of the reasons that I liked Matt House a lot. He got very creative in the way that he used both of those guys. So you're not wrong. Like, I don't think Harold Perkins is going to play specifically the Jack position in the manner that they run it when they're running a 3-4 with the Jack standing up on the outside. But it's sort of an undefined, sort of malleable role that they had him in last year, and that's kind of what they need to do again. Not kind of, it's what they need to do again. Hey, Dad, good morning. Who Dat for life? Saints-Lions, going to be a good game. Lions defense is something serious. Is part of the Lions defense Kansas City Chief receivers dropping balls? Asking for a friend? No, but seriously. Stuart, good morning. Joe lined up his contract, so when it's up, the Saints will be in QB limbo. Saints may be in QB limbo after the season. Saints are perpetually in QB limbo. Leon Williams, are they moving Perkins to his natural position? The kid could be to LSU or Derek Thomas was to Alabama. Harold Perkins is not as big as Derek Thomas. Derek Thomas was... Derek Thomas was 6'3", 243. Harold Perkins is like 6'1", 220. Matt, how to listen to the game tonight outside of BR? Oh, thank you, Chet. So we'll stream it on 104. So the games are on, the Catholic High games are on 104.5 ESPN. So however you listen to any of our shows, you can listen to it on stream. And then they also have a video stream on VSN, which I believe is Varsity Sports Network. If you go follow Catholic social media, they should have the links to watch it as well if you want. Just now remembering Spagnuolo was the DC in Kansas City and has had success there. Why didn't you think his system worked here? You know, Wacky Chris, Spagnuolo was in New Orleans for 1 year, and it was the Bounty Gate year. So, it not only did it not work, I mean, it was literally the worst defense in the history of the NFL by yardage allowed. So, there was a lot going on there, man. It's hard to judge the Bounty Gate year, you know, by any standard because it was just so weird. So, I mean, all of that, I'm sure, factored in. Okay. Jim Arsenault, Kelly Gross, Scott McCarty, Bob Poole. All right. Appreciate it. I think we're done. All right. Thank you all so much for watching as always. Again, YouTube, if you're there, please smash that like button. Got over 100 watching, just 31 likes. Take a quick second. Hit that thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. If you're new, please subscribe up to the channel. And Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. Brought to you by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing. You need an orthopedist, Brock is always there for you. And if you need a roof, we'd love to help you out. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Hudco's pinned in the chat. Okay, LSU Daily is live. If you would, on your favorite podcast app, just search LSU Daily. Subscribe up. We appreciate that. And we'll see you for AFR 3. Peace.